If you want to get faster at running in 2025, then sit back and relax because I'm going to share with you 5 of my ultimate tips to get you there. Whether that's running a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon or marathon, I've put together my 5 best tips to make you a faster runner. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the first tip. Now the first tip I'm going to give you is running hills in your training. Now running uphill has many different benefits. First of all, running uphill strengthens your heart and your lungs, which will boost your cardiovascular fitness. But it will also build the strength in the legs associated with running uphill. So your glutes, your hamstrings will become more fatigue resistant. And then during running and during races, those muscles will take longer to fatigue, ultimately allowing you to run at a faster pace at a slower effort. Not only this, but running uphill encourages you to use your arms, which will improve your coordination and your running efficiency. So how do we actually go about running uphill? Well, there are a couple of different ways you can do this. You can do this as part of a slower, longer run where you gradually climb over several hills, or you can do hill sprints towards the back end or the start of a workout. These would be shorter, sharper, at higher intensities with your heart rate going higher than if we were to do the slower, longer ones. But ultimately, all hill climbing and hill running is really good for your running fitness. It's a staple in the Kenyan running diet, and if it's good enough for them, it sure is good enough for us. The second tip is to do more easy running. Now that might sound really simple or might not make an awful lot of sense to you, but there is an awful lot of science behind doing easy running. In fact, I follow the 80-20 principle in that 80% of my running is easy and 20% of my running is done hard. You may also hear this referred to as zone 2 training, but for the purpose of this video, we'll keep it simple and call it easy running. The scientific explanation behind easy running or zone 2 training is that it boosts your athletic performance on the cellular level. It improves your ability to utilize fat and effectively clear lactate, ultimately allowing you to train longer and to get stronger. So effectively, it allows you to train for longer with less fatigue, which, as of course you well know, that is so important to run faster. So in terms of understanding what an easy pace might feel like, of course you can use a heart rate monitor, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to tell you how I work out what my easy pace is. I don't want it to be too comfortable, however, that it isn't too much of an effort, but equally I don't want to be drawing breath every other word. So it's a pace that I can have a conversation with somebody else with that is comfortable, but it's not too comfortable. So in terms of understanding how much easy running we should be doing, well, that really is difficult to quantify an exact number, but I use a ratio of 80-20 in terms of working out what exactly the split of hard running and easy running is. If 80% of my week is done during these easy runs, then I know that the numbers will be working in my favor and I'll be getting all the benefits as discussed with the easy running. Trust me on this one, easy running will see massive amounts of improvements in your running and will make you faster. Please do not neglect this. Please don't just run fast every time you run. Make sure you get plenty of easy running done. And it's also far more enjoyable and you don't loathe running because actually it is quite fun after a while. Now the third point today is all about the speed sessions that you do and making sure that you do at least one speed session each and every single week. Now I've just shared with you on the screen the workouts that I do for speed for 5K all the way up to the marathon distance. Now there are a number of benefits from a scientific point of view with doing the speed workout, and I'll keep this really simple, but essentially during speed workouts you maximally activate your slow twitch muscle fibers and your intermediate muscle fibers, which will increase your aerobic capacity. So essentially what you're doing is you're training those fibers to max out as best as possible, and those adaptations you make by maxing out will make you faster in the longer run. So speed is really important for a number of different reasons, and I'm sure you're well aware of why it is important. But for me, I keep things quite simple. I do 2 different types of speed sessions. I do either a tempo-based speed session, which is running at race pace or slower, and that tends to be for a longer duration over a longer period of time, or I do a speed session where I'm working at a lot faster but a lot shorter reps. If you can make sure you do these workouts at least once a week consistently, you will see the most amount of benefits to if you were to do one every other week or every 3 weeks. Making sure you have your speed workouts in your training, and you will see so many benefits and you will run much faster, quicker than you will believe. The fourth tip I'm going to give you, and this is a 1% tip, and what I mean by that is this is the 1% difference. If you do this before every single run that you go on, I guarantee you, you will become faster, and that is to do a thorough proper warm-up and to do drills before every single run. Now I have just made a 5-minute video on a warm-up which you can do and you can watch at the same time, so I'll put a link down below in the description. But also making sure that you do drills on every single run is so important. So drills, what they essentially do is they exaggerate the muscle movements that you do in running. For example, when you're doing lunges or when you're doing pogo hops, you are making those muscles involved in those movements work harder than what they would do when they're running. So when it comes to running should feel slightly easier. You're also adding strength to those muscles. If you do want to know what drills you should be doing, I would simply just YouTube A skips and B skips. These are two very simple exercises that I use by so many, and they will make you stronger and they will make you faster. Now the fifth and final tip, and this is probably my favorite of them all, is making sure that you add a long run into each and every single week of your training. Many coaches prescribe doing a certain distance for a long run, but personally, now I'm not a coach, but I like to prescribe time on the feet. Now I appreciate that each long run will be different depending on what distance you are racing, but I would argue that any distance from 5K, even lower from 3K, all the way up to a marathon requires a long run. And doing that each and every week, you will compound that fitness and you will see so many benefits of doing long runs each and every week. Endurance long runs help build cardiovascular endurance, which will allow your heart and your lungs to become more efficient. And not only that, but your fat metabolism will improve and your body will be able to utilize fat as a primary source of fuel, which is really important during times of need, especially when our body runs out of fuel. Our body can adapt and then use fat stores to supply its energy demand. Not only this, but the long run will give you that mental resilience, which if you do ever plan to race is so important. Building up that toughness over a long period is something that will propel you forward and will make you a faster runner. Now long runs can be simple, they can be on the road, but I like to mix up the surfaces that I run on. So I like to do an awful lot of hill running, and this is where I say at the start, I don't like to prescribe a certain distance because the argument is running up hills for a long run is far harder than running the same distance over a flatter terrain. It also allows the body to rest and recover from pounding the tarmac to hitting softer surfaces. So those are my 5 tips that will make you a faster runner in 2025. If you do have any questions you wish to ask me, please leave them down in the comment section below. I really appreciate all the support recently on the channel. It's been absolutely fantastic. Let me know how your training is currently going and let me know what your plans are for 2025. Until the next time, thank you very much and see you later. Right on time for the parties and Barbies. Strolling with a chunk of green like a golf swing.